Ever wondered what makes a Rolls Royce the epitome of luxury? Buckle up, because today we're diving into 10 astonishing facts about this iconic car brand that will blow your mind. Now, I've driven a fair few cars in my time, some fast, some, well, let's just say some were French, but a Rolls Royce, that's an entirely different kettle of hand-stitched, leather-bound, V12-powered fish. It's not just a car, it's a statement. It's a 2.5-ton, mobile declaration that you've either made it, inherited it, or possibly, just possibly, you're on your way to a very important meeting about borrowing an enormous sum of money. Today, we're not just going to polish the chrome and admire the veneer. Oh no, we're going to lift the surprisingly heavy bonnet on what makes these behemoths of British engineering quite so special. Forget your sensible hatchbacks and your eco-boxes for a moment. We're venturing into a world where adequate is the only power figure you'll get, and where the loudest noise at 60 miles per hour is the ticking of the dashboard clock, assuming you haven't had it replaced with a diamond-encrusted Fabergé egg, which, let's be honest, is probably an option. So prepare for a journey into opulence, into engineering madness, and into the sort of details that make other car manufacturers weep into their spreadsheets. These are the things that make a Rolls Royce more than just transport. They make it an event, an experience, a rather large and expensive exclamation mark on wheels. And trust me, some of these facts are so brilliantly absurd, you'll wonder how they ever got away with it. Let's begin. Right, let's start with the obvious bit. The lady perched on the front of every Rolls Royce, looking like she's about to take flight after a particularly good gust of wind. She's called the Spirit of Ecstasy, or Eleanor, if you're on first-name terms, and no, she's not just some random bit of shiny metal plonked on there to help you aim the car. Though with a bonnet that long, you probably could use the help. This isn't some marketing gimmick cooked up last Tuesday. She first appeared way back in 1911. The story goes she was modelled on Eleanor Thornton, the secretary and of Lord Montague of Beaulieu, one of the early motoring pioneers. The original design had her with a finger to her lips, supposedly symbolising the secrecy of their affair. How very British. Of course, over the years she's changed a bit. Different sizes, different stances, sometimes kneeling, sometimes standing proud. And here's the clever bit. On modern rollers, if some oik tries to pinch her, she doesn't just snap off. Oh no, she retracts with the speed and grace of a startled meerkat, disappearing into the grille before you can say 5-finger discount. It's a brilliant piece of engineering designed solely to thwart petty criminals, and frankly, I approve. More things should be designed with that level of spite. Now, in a world where most cars are spat out by robots with the personality of a particularly dull fridge, Rolls-Royce does things differently. Each car is, and I mean this quite literally, handcrafted. We're talking about artisans, craftsmen, people who probably consider a spirit level to be a vital part of their weekend attire. The leather in a Rolls-Royce? It comes from bulls. Specifically bulls raised in high-altitude alpine pastures where there are no mosquitoes or barbed wire fences to mar their precious hides. They use about 8 to 15 of these pampered bull hides per car. Imagine the logistics. And then there's the woodwork. The veneers are all sourced from a single tree for each car. Not just the same type of tree, mind you, but this is to ensure that the grain and figuring match perfectly across the entire interior. The dashboard, the door cappings, the picnic tables, all from one long-suffering piece of timber. It takes weeks, months even, to build one of these things. It's less a production line and more a very slow, very expensive, very quiet workshop full of people who are utterly obsessed with perfection. It's bonkers, but gloriously so. One of the defining characteristics of a Rolls Royce is the silence. It's not just quiet, it's unnervingly quiet. You could be thundering along at, let's say, a pace, and inside the loudest sound would be your own breathing, or perhaps the gentle rustle of your enormous bank statement. They achieve this level of serenity through a combination of witchcraft, wizardry, and an absolutely colossal amount of soundproofing material, over 300 pounds of it in some models. That's like having a very well-behaved sheepdog hidden in the chassis. The windows are double glazed, thicker than a polar bear's sandwich. The tyres are even specially designed with foam inserts to reduce road noise. It's an obsession. They say that at 60 miles per hour, the loudest noise inside a Rolls Royce used to be the electric clock. Now I suspect it's the sound of your chauffeur quietly judging your choice of music. The engineers at Goodwood actually have a job title that essentially translates to Minister of Silence. Their entire life is dedicated to hunting down and eradicating unwanted decibels. It's a magnificent, almost pathological pursuit of tranquility. If you thought choosing the color of your new hatchback was a big decision, then welcome to the world of Rolls Royce Bespoke. This isn't just picking from a brochure of 10 shades of grey. Oh no. With Rolls Royce, the level of customization is frankly terrifying. You want the exterior paint to match your prize-winning poodle? Done. You want the interior leather to be the exact shade of your favorite claret? Not a problem, sir. They once matched a paint color to a customer's red setter. A dog? They will, within the bounds of taste and legality, and sometimes I suspect even pushing those a bit, do almost anything you ask. Champagne coolers, humidors, picnic sets that cost more than a small family car, intricate embroidery of your family crest, dashboards made from materials you've never even heard of. One customer wanted a diamond-encrusted dashboard. Another requested a special compartment for his racing pigeons. It's a service that transforms a car into a deeply personal and often deeply eccentric statement. The only limit, really, is the size of your imagination. And of course your wallet, which, if you're buying a roller, is presumably quite substantial. Now, this is one of those features that, on paper, sounds a bit naff, a bit Las Vegas. But then you see it and, well, it's actually rather brilliant. I'm talking about the Starlight headliner. This isn't just a couple of LEDs poked into the roof lining. We're talking about hundreds, sometimes thousands of tiny fiber optic lights, individually hand-woven into the leather roof lining to replicate the night sky. And not just any night sky, mind you. You can specify the exact constellation pattern you want, perhaps the stars as they appeared on the night you were born or the night you made your first billion. Each light is set at a slightly different angle and depth to mimic the varying brightness of actual stars. The whole process of creating one of these celestial ceilings can take up to 17 hours, all done by hand by a couple of very patient craftspeople. You can even have shooting stars programmed to streak across your personal cosmos at random intervals. It's utterly pointless, of course. It serves no practical function whatsoever. And yet it's one of the most popular bespoke options. It's the sort of magnificent, over-the-top indulgence that makes a Rolls Royce, well, a Rolls Royce. For decades, if you asked Rolls-Royce about the power output of their engines, they'd simply reply with one word: adequate. That's it. No shouty horsepower figures, no chest-beating torque numbers, just a calm, supremely confident adequate, which, when you think about it, is the most powerful statement of all. It implies that whatever you need, whenever you need it, the engine will deliver, effortlessly and without fuss. And frankly, they weren't wrong. These cars are usually powered by enormous, silky smooth V12 engines, often displacing 6 3/4 litres. That's a capacity most lorries would be proud of. The emphasis isn't on raw, screaming power like you'd find in some Italian supercar that's trying too hard. No, this is about waftability. It's about a huge wave of torque available from just above tick-over, allowing these 2.5-ton stately homes on wheels to accelerate with a sort of relentless, serene urgency that could reposition continents. You don't rev a Rolls-Royce engine, you simply apply a bit of pressure with your handmade Italian loafer, and the world outside begins to glide backwards at an alarming yet utterly composed rate. It's power delivered with the politeness of a very well-trained, very large butler. Chapter 7. A history longer than your grandfather's anecdotes. Rolls-Royce isn't some Johnny-come-lately brand that popped up last week with a fancy logo and a big marketing budget. Oh no, this company has history, proper, steeped in sepia tones history. It all started back in 1904, when a meticulous engineer named Henry Royce met a flamboyant aristocrat and car salesman named Charles Rolls. Royce made brilliant cars. Rolls knew how to sell them to the right sort of people. It was a match made in motoring heaven, or at least in a rather posh Manchester hotel. Their goal was simple: to build the best car in the world. A modest ambition then, and for much of its existence, many would argue they achieved it. These cars have ferried royalty, film stars, captains of industry, and probably a few notorious villains too. They've survived wars, economic depressions, and the onslaught of mass production. They even made aero engines. The Merlin engine that powered the Spitfire and Lancaster bomber, that was Rolls Royce. So when you buy a Rolls, you're not just buying a car, you're buying a slice of British industrial heritage, a testament to engineering prowess that has quite literally shaped history. It's a legacy that few other car makers can even dream of matching. Let's address the elephant in the room, or rather the multi-hundred-thousand-pound motor car in the climate-controlled garage. Rolls-Royces are, to put it mildly, not cheap. You could buy a very nice house, or several very nice houses in some parts of the world, for the price of a new Phantom or Cullinan. So what exactly are you paying for? Is it just the badge and the bragging rights? Well, yes, partly, but there's so much more to it than that. You're paying for those hundreds of hours of painstaking craftsmanship, the obsessive attention to detail, the finest materials known to man and bull. You're paying for the engineering that makes it quieter than a Trappist monastery, for the adequate power that can out-accelerate a startled gazelle, and for the sheer, unadulterated sense of occasion every time you slide behind the wheel, or, more likely, into the back seat. And let's not forget the little things like the Teflon-coated umbrellas hidden in the doors, perfectly dry and ready for an unexpected downpour. It's this kind of thinking, this anticipation of every possible need, that contributes to the cost. It's not just a car, it's a personal valet, a mobile sanctuary, and a work of art, all rolled into one very expensive, very desirable package. So who actually buys these magnificent land yachts? Well, it's a rather exclusive club, as you might imagine. Historically, it was royalty, maharajas, industrial tycoons, the sort of people who had staff to worry about the driving and the parking. Think Queen Elizabeth II, who had a succession of them, or John Lennon, who had his Phantom 5 painted in psychedelic colours, much to the horror, I imagine, of the chaps at Crew. It was the ultimate symbol of having arrived and probably having a bit too much money. These days the clientele is a bit more diverse, but no less affluent. You've got your tech billionaires, your sports stars, your Hollywood A-listers, your successful entrepreneurs who want to reward themselves with something a bit more substantial than a gold watch. It's still the go-to car for those who want to travel in unparalleled comfort and make a rather unambiguous statement about their station in life. Owning a Rolls Royce isn't just about having a mode of transport, it's about belonging to a certain stratum of society. A world where bespoke is the norm and compromise is a dirty word. Now, you might think that a company so steeped in tradition, so dedicated to massive V12 engines, might be a bit resistant to this whole electric malarkey. And you'd be partly right. Charles Rolls himself, way back in 1900, actually predicted that electric cars would be the future, citing their quietness and cleanliness. He was just about 120 years too early, but now the future is catching up. Rolls-Royce has unveiled its first fully electric car, the Spectre. And typically they haven't done it by halves. It aims to be, first and foremost, a Rolls-Royce, silent, powerful and utterly luxurious. The challenge, of course, is to maintain that unique Rolls-Royce character, the waftability, the effortless surge of power without that glorious V12 soundtrack, or lack thereof. They're calling it an ultra-luxury electric supercoupe, which sounds suitably grand. It promises all the opulence and craftsmanship you'd expect, just with a battery the size of a small garden shed powering it. Whether the traditional roller buyer will embrace this silent revolution remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, Rolls-Royce isn't about to be left behind. It's always been about pushing the boundaries of luxury and engineering. And this is just the next rather quiet chapter. And there you have it. 10 astonishing facts about Rolls-Royce that truly set it apart from the rest. From a bonnet ornament with a scandalous past to headliners that mimic the heavens, and from engines that whisper of adequate power to a future that's shockingly electric. It's a world away from your everyday runabout, a testament to what happens when engineers and artisans are told that good enough simply isn't. It's a car built with an almost fanatical devotion to luxury and refinement, a glorious anachronism in some ways, yet determined to stride confidently into the future. Is it all a bit much, perhaps? Is it eye-wateringly expensive? Absolutely. But in a world of bland conformity, there's something wonderfully reassuring about a company that still builds cars with this much passion, this much attention to detail, and this much sheer, unadulterated Britishness. It's more than just a status symbol. It's a rolling piece of art, a sanctuary on wheels, and proof that sometimes more really is more. So if you've got a few £100,000 burning a hole in your Savile Row trousers, well, you know what to do. If you enjoyed this video, and frankly, how could you not, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more amazing content. Because unlike a Rolls Royce, our content is entirely free, though hopefully just as enjoyable. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to see if I can find a slightly used Silver Shadow for the price of a new Dacia Sandero. Wish me luck.